Good day, everyone. This is Don Green. Again, many of you know me from my shows on the American Guns and Glory Network and the shows which are produced at Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we are today. Today we have a very special guest because this is one of the most significant judicial election cycles which I have witnessed in over 40 years of being a lawyer in Nevada. And I'm also licensed in California, but the judgeships are way different. So today I have, and I'm pleased to introduce Chief Deputy District Attorney Hillary Heap. And Ms. Heap, if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. My name is Hillary Heap. I am a Chief Deputy District Attorney at the Clark County District Attorney's Office, and I am running for Las Vegas Justice Court Department 4.
Let's go to the first slide, please. Now, we have before us what are known as endorsements. Tell the viewing and listening audience what endorsements are, the process, and why endorsements are important.
Sure. So when I started running for this position, I reached out to several different groups, whether it be law enforcement or our labor unions, and I went to ask for their endorsement. And what that means when a group, a labor union or a police union endorses you, it means that you represent shared values with their members and with their organization, and that they think that you are the best person for the job. When they give you that endorsement, they're telling their members in the community that this is the person we think should be elected. We think this person will do the best job.
Define shared value. Define that for our audience.
Okay, well, it's what you have in common with the members. In our community, we have a lot of hardworking people here. If we're talking about our labor unions like LIUNA, we have the laborers there. They're the people who are building our community. And so the things that are important to them are the same things that are important to me. Same thing with our law enforcement unions. We're looking at people who believe in public safety, and I share that value with them, having given my career to our community for the last 13 years.
You mentioned LIUNA as an endorsement. Is that the same LIUNA which helped build Allegiant Stadium?
Yes, that is. They built Allegiant Stadium and many other projects throughout our city.
So our viewing audience can see that an important union has endorsed you.
That's correct.
Do you know if there are any other endorsements by LIUNA for judicial candidates for Department 4?
There are.
Okay. Is that what's known as a dual endorsement?
Yes, a dual or a split endorsement.
Define that for our audience, please.
So that means when there are more than one candidate who they believe shares their values, they're going to tell their members, we like and endorse both of these candidates.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, this is on Hillary Heap and your accomplishments and your background. Tell us again what you do as a Chief Deputy District Attorney and why you believe that your experience in the courtroom almost every day, why you believe that is important in this judicial election, especially for Department 4.
Sure. So I have been with the District Attorney's Office for 13 years now. I started as a law clerk in the appellate division. I worked on post-conviction and appellate matters that went up all the way to our Nevada Supreme Court. Then I joined a general litigation team. I got a lot of trial experience. I'm a very experienced trial attorney. After about 5 years on a general litigation track, I then joined our high-intensity drug trafficking area team, commonly referred to as HIDA, and we focus on large drug trafficking investigations, working to keep drugs off our streets and working against the major drug cartels in the area.
Do you believe that your trial experience can translate out into sitting as a judge, and how?
Most definitely. I'm the only candidate in this race that is an experienced trial attorney, so having been a prosecutor, actually using the rules of evidence, that will translate to being able to be the person in the courtroom, running the courtroom, deciding, objections, and in the introduction of evidence, once I'm on the bench.
So a lot of people look at this sometimes, and they look at these programs and think it's like Judge Judy or Court TV, not Court TV, CSI. But tell us about why you think that having, and how many trials have you had in district court, jury trials?
Oh, just jury trials, somewhere around 25 already.
So, but you bring that experience to a justice court.
Right.
Which does not have jury trials in criminal cases, correct?
That's correct. There are some jury trials in the domestic violence arena, but not at the same level of the district court trials.
And you believe that that experience elevates you as the best candidate for the people of Clark County?
Most definitely. I have the most experience working with the rules of evidence and working with jury trials.
Tell us again about your experience with that high-intensity drug trafficking team, and tell the audience what, if any, other law enforcement agencies with whom you dealt in the past concerning that experience.
Yes, so in the 5 years that I spent on the HIDA team, I worked with federal law enforcement agencies as well as an array of local law enforcement agencies. It's based on a task force, so we have one of the groups may have someone from Henderson, someone from Homeland Security on there, someone from our Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and all of these groups work together in conjunction with the District Attorney's Office to prosecute these high-level drug trafficking cases.
So let me ask you something about this working with, let's say, federal agencies such as the DEA, correct?
Correct, yes.
FBI, correct?
Correct.
And other federal agencies, the IRS, ICE, and et cetera?
Yes.
Tell me, isn't it true that you actually have to have like a background check and like a security clearance in order to talk to these people sometimes?
Sometimes. We use our background check through the DA's office, so I didn't have to go through an additional one,
Okay.
but they do vet their prosecutors as well.
So it's very, would you say that it's very important, like if you meet with the FBI or the DEA, would you say that of all the candidates, you're the only one with this experience right now?
Most definitely.
And how do you think that experience working with administrative agencies will translate to your job performance on the bench?
Well, because as a justice of the peace, I will have to work with agencies from all across our valley, as well as different organizations from outside. So I have that experience working with multi-agency groups already.
What happens in the 2:30 in the morning, Christmas Eve, and you get that phone call, and on the other line is a Metro detective who needs a search warrant, and he's aided by federal officers? What are you expected to do if that's your cycle, if that's your round, let's say, for search warrant duty? How do you envision that?
Well, I get up and I answer that call, just like I have been doing at the District Attorney's Office for the last 13 years.
And would you say that when you're signing a search warrant, that you're not just rubber stamping it, correct?
That's correct.
There are certain, both U.S. Supreme Court case and Nevada Supreme Court cases, which talk about the requirements for search warrants, correct?
Correct.
And so you're making an on-the-spot decision at 2:30 in the morning. Would you say that that's the same type of experience, the same type of temperament which you need to make that on-the-spot decision on a bail case for murder in justice court?
Yes, you need to have that experience and that discretion and that ability and dedication to what we do.
So would you say that given, although you've been with the district attorney's office for these years and focusing on prosecution of criminal cases, you've had administrative duties, correct?
Correct.
And it is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that even though we have a chief judge of the Las Vegas Justice Court, that you will be required to be on administrative committees?
That's correct.
And you'll be able to you'll have to take civil calendar if the judge tells you, if the chief judge assigns that to you?
That's correct.
So is this a job where you just gotta be up and running on day one? Is that correct?
That's correct.
So would you say that this is not a job for on-the-job training?
I would agree with that, for sure.
Especially with your background and experience in the well of the court, representing the state of Nevada, and not representing victims, but presenting the positions of the various victims of Clark County. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I've been doing that even now. I'm currently the team chief for our general litigation track 2. So I sit on various committees and I meet with different organizations. So I have those responsibilities now. So I will be able to take that with me to the bench.
Let's have the next slide, please. Thank you. Now, let's meet Hillary Heap. Tell the viewing and listening audience something about yourself, the person.
Okay. Well, like a lot of the viewers, I'm sure, I have a family here that I'm raising in Las Vegas. I have 3 beautiful children. They're all in school right now. I have a 5-year-old who just started kindergarten, a 7-year-old in 2nd grade, and then I have a 13-year-old daughter in 8th grade. So we're just ramping up, looking at high schools for next year and determining where she wants to go. Like I said, we live in Las Vegas. We live in the community, and we also have 2 golden doodles at home that we really love.
So tell us about your background in school, and then representative trials in district court. So you think might translate over into experience in justice court?
Sure. I moved to Las Vegas in 2005, and I jumped right into our community. I started working down on the Strip in the hospitality industry while I went to school. So I went to UNLV. I got a degree in criminal justice while I was working on the Strip. And then I went to law school here as well. So I'm very invested in our community. I've actually, a few years ago, decided I wanted to give back a little bit more to the community, and I started teaching at UNLV in the criminal justice department. I teach our Intro to Criminal Law class there. I'm deeply invested in the community and in shaping our next generation of students and community members.
You mentioned about 3 children. This election is very important for community safety. How do you translate your being a parent, a married parent, you and your husband, taking care of 3 school-age children? How do you see that translated into how will make you a better judge?
Sure. Public safety has always been my #1 priority. My husband is a retired law enforcement officer, and we're raising our kids here. I want our community to be a place where my kids can go outside, they can be safe at the park, just like I want that for everyone's family. I want our businesses to be safe, I want people to be able to be prosperous, and I want our community to be stable. So I've always had that focus on public safety and community well-being, and I will take that with me to the Justice Court bench.
So when you're talking about community safety and well-being of the community, you're not saying like if someone comes before you as a defendant and he's in custody and he's just beat up 3 children at a nursery school, are you going to give him the same deference that you would give other defendants, regardless of the crime?
Yes, I will be fair and impartial in all aspects, but I will be appropriate as well.
What happens if he wants bail?
Well, everyone is entitled to bail except for certain first-degree murder cases. So I will be able to make a judgment on what I believe that bail should be. It could be something as simple as an own recognizance release if it's not a very serious offense. But if it is a serious offense, there will be lots of other conditions. We have many tools when we discuss bail and what's appropriate. So I make bail arguments every single day as a prosecutor. I take into account what someone's background is, the crimes they committed, any type of criminal history that they have to make appropriate arguments already. So I do that on a daily basis, and I will be able to do that on the bench.
So you think that this, like for example, on bail issues, you think that this experience in the well of the court and arguing against bail or not opposing or presenting alternatives to bail, you feel that that experience will translate very well into your sitting on the bench?
Yes, I have to make those split-second decisions in court every single day to determine what I think is appropriate, and I always ask the judge for what I think is appropriate, not what I think the judge is going to give or what the community expects, but what I think is appropriate for the case before me, and I will be able to do that on the bench as a judge as I do it every single day now.
And again, our community is very diverse in Las Vegas. You mentioned a little bit earlier about working with leaders in the hospitality industry. Was that when you are still a chief deputy district attorney?
Yes.
Define some of that for us as far as working with people in the hospitality industry,
Sure.
like leaders in the hospitality industry.
About a year and a half ago, January of 2023, there was a new program that the courts enacted called the Resort Corridor Court. So what that program did, it was kind of like a specialty court where all of the crimes that occurred on the Las Vegas Strip as well as in the downtown tourist corridor came into one courtroom. So we had sort of a community-based courtroom. We had the same prosecutors, the same public defenders, and the same judge, and we could see what was going on in these tourist areas. We could see what the community needed, what was happening with victims, and what was happening with defendants in those areas. And we worked with the major resorts on the Strip to address all of those concerns so we could protect our community members that work down there, as well as the tourists that come here every day.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. And, okay, now, you've talked a lot about your experience in the court. Our viewing audience and our listening audience sometimes might not know exactly what justice court is. Please explain the basic structure of the justice court, and if you'd like, talk about what happens in civil cases in justice court and the specialty courts.
Sure. Justice court is where people start out when they come into the criminal justice system in Clark County. So justice court handles all of our misdemeanor cases that happen in Clark County, or unincorporated Clark County, or unincorporated Las Vegas. And we also handle the preliminary hearings for all the felony cases that come before the court. So a preliminary hearing is a smaller hearing. It's not as it's not a full-blown jury trial, but the prosecution has to put on a little bit of evidence to show that a crime was committed and that the defendant is the one who probably committed that. And then the judge determines if there's probable cause and if a defendant should be bound over to district court to stand trial or to go to a jury trial. Justice court does a lot of other things, though. When we have misdemeanor cases, justice court monitors those misdemeanors. Are the defendants doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they taking care of their responsibilities? Are they paying back their restitution? So justice court judges are the people or the judges that most of our community members, if they ever come into contact with a judge, it's going to be a justice court, justice of the peace.
All right. And tell us a little bit about the specialty courts. And, in addition to your duties let's say you're Justice of the Peace in Department 4, will you have other administrative duties concerning any specialty courts as assigned by the chief judge?
Yes, so the chief judge can assign the caseloads however they determine. We have specialty courts in justice court, just like they have them in district court. So there's a justice court drug court. There is a relatively new justice court mental health court. And then there's also the civil division that handles cases. They handle small claims. We handle TPOs. There's traffic. So there's a lot of different aspects or areas that a justice of the peace could cover depending on case assignment by the chief judge.
So there's a varied experience necessary to sit on the bench in justice court.
Correct.
Again, it's not just a job for on-the-job training.
No,
is that correct?
That's correct. You have to understand what's going on in these courtrooms, and I'm in there every single day. I'm in the justice courts. My particular responsibility is 3 separate justice courts, so I'm responsible for the prosecution of 3 separate justice courts and 5 district courts. So I'm in our courts every day, and I see what's going on and what this job takes.
And again, there's long hours involved with being a justice of the peace.
Yes, you're never really off duty. I mean, your phone can ring anytime, just like it does as a prosecutor.
Let's have the next slide, please. Now, tell us again about some of the representative endorsements for you and why those endorsements are important.
Yes, I have endorsements from law enforcement all across our state.
Which law enforcement?
Well, our Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department through the PPA, the Las Vegas Police Protective Association, has endorsed me, and that has agencies involved there all the way from Carson City and Reno all the way down here to Southern Nevada. So I have law enforcement endorsements that span the state. Even though my race is for a Las Vegas Justice Court department, I have full support of law enforcement all across our state. Even locally, I have the Henderson police supervisors have endorsed my race. The North Las Vegas police officers and the North Las Vegas supervisors have also endorsed me in this race, even though my seat would be Las Vegas Justice Court.
What about Hispanics in politics? For example, have they given you an endorsement?
They have not announced their endorsements yet for our race. Our race is a little bit different. The seat just became open at the end of July, so we're in a special election. There's 5 people total in the race, so we're still getting endorsements come in every day. I'm still waiting to hear from several of the labor unions as well. They just haven't endorsed yet.
What about LaUna?
They have endorsed, and
And that's a very important one.
It is.
And they've given a dual endorsement?
They've actually given a triple endorsement.
Okay,
There's
but that's
three
still
candidates.
important for all three of you.
Yes.
You're not
very-
knocking your opponents.
Correct. It's very important for
Okay.
all of us.
All right, and I think that most people can associate with Leona, again, Allegiant Stadium, and some other projects here in Las Vegas.
That's correct. And I would also say that I have this, the support and the endorsement of Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson, as well as other businesses and community members, small business owners and other community members in our city.
Let's have the final slide, please. And, okay, let's have it back again one more time. Thank you. And let's look at this, experience, integrity, respect. So you got the actual elected district attorney has endorsed you, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and he doesn't have to, is that correct?
He doesn't have to, no.
He's your boss, but he still doesn't have to endorse you, is that correct?
That's correct. I've been working with him for 13 years, and he understands what I've been doing for this community, how hard I work, and what my values are, and he believes that I will be great for this community as well on the bench.
What are your final thoughts to tell our audience why you believe that you're the candidate best suited for Justice Court Department 4?
Well, I think I'm the candidate that has the experience, the integrity, and the dedication to this community and to this job.
And you believe that your family life translates well into that?
Yes, I'm raising my kids here just like everyone else in the community, and I want the best for our community.
Okay. Thank you. We want to thank Rigel Studios for assisting in the production of this program. And at the bottom on the streamer, you can see Ms. Heap's contact information, and you'll see it throughout the program. And again, you can watch this show on my YouTube on the American Guns and Glory Network, or you can just go to Don Green Attorney and my website will come up. And I want to thank everyone again, and thank you so much, Ms. Heap, for showing up and giving us the precise answers which we were looking for. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you, and thank you again to Rigel Studios. Signing off.